Okay, so in this video, I'm going to teach you guys how to use interval notation in case you've never learned it, or I think in our curriculum, it was the first time it was introduced is actually in Math 1. So whether or not you've learned it, it's good review, and it should only take about 5 minutes. Okay, so over here, I'm going to have the inequality column. Okay, and in my middle column right here, I'm going to have the result on the number line. And the last column, I'm going to have my interval notation. Okay, so sometimes this is called, the inequality itself is actually called set notation, but here we go. Let's say if I want to graph the inequality x is less than a. Okay, a is some constant. The way I would graph it on a number line is I would write here's a. Because there's no equal sign over here, these are all numbers less than a. I would draw an open circle and it would look something like this, right? And so the inequality notation and the number line you're familiar with. So how does interval notation work? It's just another way of writing inequality notation. You want to go from left to right on the number line. That's why I wrote this third column over here. It's easier to visualize. Again, go from left to right. Well, if you're going from left, right, all the numbers to the left of a, the smallest number, right, well, infinity is actually not a number, but going from left to right, I would say this is minus infinity, and all the way until I reach the value of a, I'm going to draw parentheses, okay? And that's how I'd write x is less than a, minus infinity to a, parentheses, parentheses. That same inequality, if I just write an equal sign over here, again, same exact concept, except at a this time, I'm going to draw a closed circle, all the numbers to the left of a, right? X is less than or equal to a. And again, the way I would write the the interval notation is start by going from left to right on your number line. Numbers all the way on the left, we'll just call it minus infinity. And then as I go to the right, I'm going to hit a, but this time it's a closed, right? Means it includes the value of a. There's a closed circle, so I draw a bracket. Okay, so bracket typically represents closed. Parentheses typically represents open. And then for infinity, right? Infinity is not actually a number. It's a concept. You never ever use brackets for infinity, okay? It's just by convention. All right, so, what if we go in the opposite direction? What if we said, x is greater than a? Same exact concept, except, this one right here is going to be open, right? I'm going to go to the right, and for interval notation, right, I'm going to start at a, and I'm going to go all the way to positive infinity. Okay, so that's how I'd write x is greater than a. All right, and likewise, if you want to say x is greater than or equal to a, same exact thing. Okay, so a is greater than, x is greater than or equal to a. I draw a closed circle going to the right. And I'm going to start with a this time, except I include the value of a, so I'm going to write bracket. Okay, so there's that concept again. A, if anything's closed, you write a bracket, okay? And you never ever write brackets for infinity, okay? So always try to think, going from left to right. I go from a to infinity, a's bracket, and then all the way to the right. And as the numbers get really, really large, right, we just call it infinity. Okay, so those are single inequalities, right? What if you have a compound inequality? Let's say you had something like this. X is less than a, x is greater than a, but less than or equal to b. Okay, so if you had something like that, how would you write it? Well, here's a, here's b, and over here, I'm going to have an open circle, right? Because it does not include the value of a. And at b, it's going to be a closed circle because it can include b. All the numbers between b and a, right, including b. And so for interval notation, because it's open, for the A, I'm going to write parentheses. For the B, because it's closed, I'm going to write bracket. Okay, so that's how you would write X is greater than A, but less than or equal to B. You know, what if you have a compound inequality like this? X is less than A. You know, X is less than or equal to A. Or X is greater than B. You know, how would you draw that? Okay, so again, assuming that my A is less than B, here's A, here's B. X is less than or equal to A. Closed circle going this direction to the left. X is greater than B, right? It's going to be open and going to the right. Again, the way I think about interval notation is I'm going from left to right. So going from left to right, I'm going to start with minus infinity until I reach the value of A, right? And I'm going to write a union symbol. This just basically means or. And actually, I made a mistake here, right? This should be a closed bracket, right? Because it includes the value of A. And then union symbol, parentheses, B to infinity, close that parentheses. Okay, so this is how you write X is less than or equal to A or X is greater than B. And so that's pretty much the concept. You know, if you want to write all real numbers, you know, sometimes when you find a domain, it's going to say all real. That one's going to be fairly straightforward, right? Let's say here's A, here's B. You're going to have every number on the number line, right? It's just minus infinity to infinity, right? All the real numbers. All right, sometimes you might have a problem like this. All X cannot equal A and B. How would you write that? So on the number line, I can't have any number that equals A or B. So all of them except A or B. So at A, I'm going to draw an open. At B, I'm going to draw an open. And so, again, the concept, as I stated, is go from left to right. So going from left to right, I'm going to have minus infinity until A. And then I'm going to have the numbers between A and B, union mark A to B. And last but not least, union mark B to infinity. Okay, so my infinity symbols are kind of not drawn perfectly, but I just want to let you know it's infinity. Okay, so that's how you would write inequality notation into interval notation. My suggestion for you is to draw the number line and think about it going from left to right, and that will help you write things in interval notation.